Hello, I am Maggie Castro, Associate State Director of AARP in New York. We are so pleased to participate in this podcast with Empire Report about protecting some of our most vulnerable citizens, our nursing home residents. Over 15,000 residents have died in nursing homes and other adult care facilities during the pandemic so far. This is an unspeakable tragedy, and we can never let it happen again. New data revealed that the New York's long-term care ombudsman programs that are supposed to advocate for older residents who live in nursing homes and other long-term care facilities is clearly not meeting the stated goals of the program to the detriment of the residents. So to discuss this problem and what can be done about it, I'd like to introduce our guests. Richard Malat, Executive Director of the Long-Term Care Community Coalition of New York, and Anne Marie Cook, President and CEO of Lifespan of Greater Rochester, and AARP New York's very own State Director, Beth Finkel. So, Richard, what is the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program, and what does it do for people in nursing homes and adult care facilities?
Thanks for asking. The Ombudsman program is a really important program. It's actually federally required under the Older Americans Act. Every state has to have a long-term care Ombudsman program. And what the Ombudsman programs do is that they monitor care in nursing homes and other residential care settings, and they advocate for residents in those settings. So they are really the people who are on the ground on a day in, day out basis, who again are monitoring care and helping residents and their families to advocate for better care and for life with dignity.
Why is this program so important to those living in those institutions and their family caregivers?
I think the best way to describe it is if you think of yourself. Imagine you're in a nursing home. Imagine you have a concern. It could be a serious concern about care, quality of care, staffing issues, or everything from lost items. And you have no one to talk to. And the people that are doing this care for you each day. So you're concerned about that. The ombudsman is the advocate, as Richard said, is the person that will help work through those issues, is the person that will make sure there's no retaliation, honestly is key for both the resident and the family caregiver to ensure quality of care and quality of life for the person living in the nursing home. It is their home. It is a critical program for older adults, those most vulnerable in our society who reside in nursing homes.
So, what are the current problems with this program, and how does it affect the well-being of residents in those facilities?
Well, at this point, it is underfunded. And it really works on the back of wonderful volunteers, and nothing against the volunteers that work in the program, but it's understaffed, it's underfunded. And we really saw during COVID, honestly, we need to redesign this program. It needs to be completely redesigned, more professionalized, and ensure that we have advocates in every long-term care facility in New York State. And that is not the case today.
Beth, from AARP's perspective, what are the current problems? What has the research shown?
So what we're finding out is that, as was just stated, 15,000 people died in our long-term care facilities in New York State during COVID. We can't allow that to happen again. And what happened was there was no oversight because the ombudsman could not get into the facilities. So actually, we just got the data back from the last quarter of 2021, and the results are so appalling. In fact, across New York State, just 8% of New York State's 1,400 long-term care facilities received a weekly visit. 8% of the 1,400 received a weekly visit from the long-term care ombudsman. And we also got the data regionally. So if you look at New York City, hold on to your hat on this one. 97% of New York City's long-term care facilities, 300 facilities, 97% of them did not get a visit during the last quarter of 2021. I can't think of anything worse when you think about what Anne Marie just talked about, that these are the voice, really, and the advocates and the people who are looking out for people in long-term care facilities, and nobody's overseeing this for them. Can you think of anything worse for your loved one or for yourself one day if you are in an institution? At 85% of those in Westchester, Putnam, and Rockland, and 67% of Nassau County. So when you think about overwhelming majority of people did not get a visit from a long-term care ombudsman, and there was nobody speaking up for them. If they were not receiving the nutritional meals that they needed, if they were left in their beds all day, or if they were tied, God forbid, to a wheelchair, who would have reported it on behalf of the patient? And I want to reiterate one more thing that Anne Marie said, which is so important. People who are in these institutions are totally reliant on the staff in these institutions. And so they can't afford to have any retaliation. So the idea of them speaking up for themselves is a very scary idea for them. And that's why the long-term care ombudsmen are in place. And I just would like to add one more piece. California pays 3 times per patient what New York State pays. And we are ranked 39th in the country. Is that what New York State is all about? Is that what we brag about, being the best state in the country? We are 39th in the rating? I don't think so. We need to do something about this.
That's terrible. That's terrible. So Beth, what are the governor and the legislature doing about this problem? I know the budget is due in a week, so what's happening?
So we know that the governor put it in the budget. We know that but not sufficient amount, a very insufficient amount. We know that the Senate put $2 million in the budget, the asking, and we know that the Assembly put in 15 million, which is what is needed here. We need the 15 million in order to professionalize this program. I want to go back to what Richard said. This program was created through the federal government. It has not really been revamped since it was originally created, which was well over 40 years ago or 50 years ago. We're in the modern era, folks, and we've got to be able to take care of people who are in institutions. We don't want to go back to those bad old days when people in institutions were totally overlooked and acted as if they weren't even there. We can't do that anymore. So we need the Senate and the Assembly to come together. We need them to stick to that 15 million. We need the governor to also step up and meet it, so that in the end, when we have all those 3 groups at the table, they better keep a priority on these long-term care facility residents, or we're all going to feel so awful when they again do not have that oversight, and God forbid we lose another 15,000 people. That can't happen.
No, we can't afford to have that happen either. Again, never again. But Anne Marie and Richard, aside from what Beth has mentioned, is there something else that you feel that the legislature should be doing about this?
Well, I'll step in and then turn it over to Richard. We honestly need funding. We need funding for more staff. I think one of the critical stats that Beth just gave us is that more than 90% of long-term care facilities in the state don't receive a weekly visit from an ombudsman because it's so underfunded. I mean, so when you think about that, those residents in nursing homes deserve to have an advocate, and we have to do better.
I would just say we're really fortunate to have some terrific ombudsman leadership, both in the state office and in the regional offices around New York, but they can't do it all themselves. We need to support them through improving their staffing and really ensuring that they're able to ensure that their staff are there in a meaningful way, for nursing home residents and assisted living residents.
So to your point, they can't do it alone. So what can people do if they want to push for more money? Who can they call if they have problems with their nursing homes or the adult homes? And who can they talk to if they want to contact this ombudsman person in their area?
Well, I think the best thing to do right now is have folks contact the New York State Senate, your own senator, or you can call 844-489-1319 to voice your support for more funding for the long-term care ombudsman program. This week is critical.
I think we need to repeat that number one more time, Anne Marie.
Happy to do that. 844-489-1319.
Anything else that we can do from perhaps the ARP's perspective or from the other agencies' perspectives? Beth, Richard?
You need to have your voices heard. The public needs to speak out. They need to reach out to their senators. They need to reach out to their assemblymen members. They need to tell them this is critical. We can't get it. A minimal amount of budgeting will not do it. And folks, 15 million in the scope of the New York State budget, 15 million is a pittance. And so to overlook the health and well-being of our most fragile citizens because we can't put $15 million in, especially in a year that we've got extra money coming into the state. This is the time to do it. This is the time to make the commitment that we care about our most fragile. We'll be judged on that one day.
Richard, any last
Yeah,
words?
the only thing I would add is that this is really a bipartisan issue, and it's, we're all concerned about the safety and the well-being and the dignity of the residents, and that's what we've been talking about. But it's also an integrity of the public funds, the taxpayer money that goes and pays for most nursing home care. We deserve to get good value for that. And one way in which that happens is ensuring that residents get the care that facilities promise. And the only way to do that, frankly, is with the monitoring, is with the supports that the Ombudsman provides. And it's not a lot of money in terms of the state budget, as Beth was saying, but it gets a lot of bang for its buck because it avoids hospitalizations, it avoids treatments with medications and other issues that residents would need. So again, we're concerned about the safety and the comfort and the dignity, but it also goes beyond that, and it goes to the financial integrity of our program here in New York and what we as taxpayers get for the money we pay.
I want to thank you once again for joining us for this conversation and sharing all that information. It's really important. And for you all, it's really important that you call your New York State Senate office at 844-489-1319. Let them know that changes need to be made. You have the information. And if you want more information on the New York State Ombudsman program, if you want to talk to someone about getting an ombudsman or speaking to an ombudsman, the number is 855-582-6769. I repeat, 855-582-6769. Thanks again for joining us. If you need any additional information, please check us out on the website, aarp.org/New York, and we'll look forward to speaking with you again.